Hello and welcome back for another edition of London Direct. So we have a new government in Greece and the euro is at multi-year low. So will we see compromise between the Troika and Athens? Well, I've been speaking to Simon Smith from FxPro. So Simon, let's concentrate on the situation with Greece. We've got the ruling party now saying that it's not realistic for them to pay all of their debt. On the other hand, we've got Europe saying they still have to pay their debt, so who's going to blink first?
That's the phrase of the week, I think, who's going to blink first. It's interesting because a lot of the debt was, was restructured. Greece's burden of debt has risen, but actually the interest payments have fallen and fallen very much further into the future. So actually the debt burden isn't and that was the whole point of the restructuring. It's not an immediate issue. It was designed to allow Greece to grow, to recover before it had to recover from that or start paying back the debt. But if you look through pretty much all credit crises, the route out either is inflation or devaluation, or other aspects that you don't get with an independent central or a non-country specific central bank as we have now. So they have a case, and we've already seen that restructuring in place. But naturally, the risk is that if the eurozone is seen to give any ground, then anyone's potentially fair game in the future, because when the single currency came into being, it was irreversible. Once you're in, you're in. There was no get out clause. There's no way out. So that's the trouble that they face. If Germany, or if you want to broaden that to the Troika, want to say, okay, we're not having this, it's not going to happen, for some strange reason or whatever reason Greece is let go, then although we think notionally that they're more insulated now, the contagion risk is much less than it was in 2010, 2012 when it was across all markets. It's still a bigger picture that undermines the whole of the single currency.
Yeah. Do you not think that the key members of the eurozone are looking nervously at Greece, but also look at Spain and the rise of the parties over there, which are anti-austerity? That there has to be some give, even if it's only words. That's
the other side of it, because naturally, if it's the Troika stroke eurozone that blink first, then as I said, other parties, other countries say, hey, actually, I'll vote for that party. Anti-austerity party is actually going to be worth something now. It's going to have credence, it's going to have currency, because it's going to get us somewhere. So that is why we're going to potentially have this standoff, because the eurozone doesn't want to give that impression, because already we're seeing that in some quarters, and naturally, if it's seen to be successful, then it's in Spain's case, a red rag to a bull.
Yeah. What does this say about the euro? It's at an 11-year low, and I'm just thinking what we went through in 2008, and still we're below that level that we saw then. I know we're seeing a lot of dollar strength as well, but what does it say about the euro that we're at these lows?
It's a difficult one, because there are plenty of blood on the streets, and people have thought that the euro is a badly constructed currency, therefore I'm going to sell it because it just doesn't work, and usually have been steamrolled by the market. So it's a very dangerous game to try and take a view of the problems in the eurozone and selling the euro. Most of the weakness we've seen, has been an anticipation of QE, and the fact that we saw larger than expected QE. We saw an absolute move of 5% on euro dollar. We have to go back to May 2010 to see us move as big as that in absolute terms during 1 week. So the average is about 2%. So last week was a very much outsized week, but it was driven by the policy side. So I don't sense that much, or just a residual amount of that move has been driven by events in Greece, because it's a very difficult trade. Because Greece leaves, and notionally you can think, well, actually net we've got a stronger euro as a result, because we're sort of which is one way of looking at it, but then naturally, as I said, then the whole reversibility of it is brought into question. That makes so there's both sides to the story, and that's the difficulty. That it's a very dangerous thing to try and take a view of the sort of structure of the eurozone, the fact the euro's badly constructed, it's a suboptimal currency zone, and sell the euro because of it, because it's usually been steamrolled and wrong. Yeah.
So do you think we're likely to drift towards parity if this talk from Greece continues, this standoff continues? That if there's no solution, that will we drift lower?
Given that in effect, the current agreement runs out at the end of February, so that the deadline is already looming, and so I don't think there's going to be a drift. Let's say something like we're going to zoom down to parity, but things are going to sort of come to a head probably quicker than perhaps people expect, and that's the danger here. That at that point, we'd like to see more sensitivity of the euro to events going on there. We saw that in, before Draghi came out with his "forever what it takes" or whatever it takes comment. You just correlate the euro with peripheral spreads. It's very tight. We've moved away from that, but there's a danger we sort of get back to that sort of mentality, let's say. But the difference now is that yields are so much lower. Yields are 1% handle in Italy. It's just the level of yields is just so much different from them, and that will be the difference. But I think bottom line, yes, I think the euro is going to get a bit more edgy towards it, probably in the sort of second half of February, if we don't see any sort of signs that we're reaching a resolution. Yeah,
just to finish off, I just want to focus on the Fed, because there's talk of currency wars. You can argue that they've never gone away, but do you think the Fed's going to have to say something to try and talk down the dollar, as we've seen the weakness in so many currencies now?
It's a difficult one, because ultimately dollar policy lies with the Treasury. So the Fed is usually ceded to them, and as Fed presidents past have just very much avoided wanting to talk about the currency. The US used to have this sort of line of us, we believe in a strong dollar. Even when it was going down year after year, they'd keep saying it. Now we have the situation, the opposite is happening. So I think it's, a lot of it is being driven by what's going elsewhere. But it does become a concern that, on the one hand, we're expecting the US to lead us out and to sort of be the linchpin of the global recovery, but at the same point, that is instigating a stronger dollar, which at the same time could not derail it, but certainly make it softer. So, I don't know. I'm a bit reluctant to start talking about currency wars, and I'm certainly more reluctant to think that the Fed will want to get involved. It's nearly always a road to ruin for central bankers to start talking up or down a currency.
Well, thank you, Simon, for his analysis. Stay tuned to Do's Copy TV for more interviews, but for now, goodbye.